Former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State during the Obama administration, Joel Rubin. The president gears up for this NATO summit. How do you think he'll be greeted there?
Yeah, and I think that the NATO allies are going to look at him and say, this is an inherently unstable situation, and now's the time to really supercharge our diplomacy. So congratulations on getting that ceasefire, on working with the Israelis, on working, of course, with the Qataris regarding Iran. But we need a bigger process. We need to be in the game as Europe. We were in the game on Iran diplomacy for a number of years. This is how you solidify and lock in those gains that were just made, and where Israel feels like it did obtain some defensive benefits as well. And I think that's the key thing. Will the president leverage this moment, or will he sort of let it pass and then we continue to stay in an unstable situation?
Joel, you also worked in the Bush administration during the Iraq invasion. That led to regime change. Do you see it happening in Iran? Because President Trump says that's not what he wants.
Well, you know, Anna, there are a lot of lessons learned about the Iraq experience. And the primary one is that a regime change is a horrible policy goal for the United States. It never ends up as predicted. We don't control the internal political dynamics of other countries. And so one should not really engage in that kind of thinking. But I think that the challenge now is that this regime in Tehran is so dangerous and cornered in many ways. And while now it has been brought to its knees, as General McCaffrey says, and it had enough, clearly, my instinct is that we're going to likely see a more shadowy war now underway to try to destabilize that regime, not necessarily to send in troops, and certainly not by us, but perhaps by Israel and others. And to try to erode it from underneath to see if something can happen inside Iran. But, you know, the Iranian military, the IRGC, the Basij, other security forces controlled by the Iranian government, they are still there, still in place, and they have control. There are no other significant military counters to that. So this is part of the shadow war that may take place, but it's a very dangerous and difficult and I think unwise policy to pursue.
And here we